When Dune was published in 1965, readers loved it. They loved the world. They loved the politics. And most of all, they loved Paul Atreides, the chosen one, the Messiah, the hero who avenged his father and overthrew an evil empire. Frank Herbert, on the other hand, was horrified because Paul Atreides was never supposed to be the hero, and Herbert spent the rest of his life trying to convince readers they had it wrong. This is the part of Dune most people miss, and it's the entire point of Dune Part 3. Welcome to the Understory, where we dive into different sci-fi, fantasy, and literature topics and dig down deep to find the stories underneath it all. If you're new here, consider liking or subscribing. This is a brand new channel, and it helps out so much, and I really appreciate it. Now let's dive in. Frank Herbert had a specific message in mind when he wrote Dune. He'd been studying charismatic leaders, specifically how ordinary people give themselves over to leaders who promise salvation and the catastrophes that follow. Herbert once put it bluntly, quote, "Charismatic leaders ought to come with a warning label that says may be dangerous to your health." That was the thesis, and Dune was supposed to be the warning label. The whole arc of the first book, the prophecy, the rise to power, the messianic fervor of the Fremen, was built as a trap. Paul isn't supposed to feel triumphant. The reader is supposed to slowly realize over the course of the novel that Paul is being engineered into a religious icon by forces older than he is, and that his rise to power is going to unleash something terrible. The last line of the first book, Dune, hints at this. Paul has won. He's about to take the throne. And the book ends with his mother thinking about how the real victory belongs to the women who will write Paul's history. It's not a triumph. It's a warning that the next phase has begun. The problem is, nobody read it that way. Dune came out at the perfect moment to be misread. The 60s counterculture was looking for messianic figures. The fantasy genre was building toward archetypal hero stories. Star Wars came out 12 years later and is, in many ways, Dune with the warning label removed. Audiences wanted a chosen one. Herbert had given them what looked like one, and they took it and ran. Letters poured in. Paul fan clubs formed. Readers wrote to Herbert about how inspiring Paul was and how they wanted to be Paul, how they wished they had the courage to lead like he did. Herbert was watching his anti-hero get turned into a hero in real time. So in 1969, 4 years after Dune, Herbert published Dune Messiah. Dune Messiah is a deconstruction. Picks up 12 years after the first book and shows you the cost. Paul's holy war has killed 61 billion people. I didn't misspeak. 61 billion. He's sterilized 90 planets. He's wiped out 40 religions. The Fremen, the people Paul claimed to liberate, are losing their culture as Arrakis is terraformed into a green paradise he promised them. They didn't want a green paradise. They wanted the desert that made them who they were. Paul himself is trapped. His prescience, the gift that made him powerful, has become a prison. He can see every possible future, and almost all of them end in horror. He's locked into a path he can't escape, surrounded by enemies, married to a woman he doesn't love for political reasons, watching the woman he does love be slowly destroyed by his choices. This is not a victory lap. This is a war crimes tribunal where the defendant is the protagonist. And Herbert's message is unmistakable. This is what happens when you put your faith in a charismatic leader. even one who genuinely loves you, even one who can see the future. The institutions that grow up around them are bigger than they are. The damage is incalculable. There is no good ending. This is the book Denis Villeneuve is adapting for Dune Part 3, Dune Messiah. And this is where it gets interesting, because Villeneuve has been quietly setting this up the whole time. Watch Part 2 again with this in mind. The Fremen prophecy is depicted as Bene Gesserit propaganda from the start. Chani, who in the book is mostly a love interest, is rewritten as the moral center, the one Fremen who sees through the manipulation, and it's brilliant. The film ends not with Paul's triumph, but with Chani walking away, furious, into the desert. Villeneuve has been telling you Paul isn't the hero this whole time. Most audiences just haven't been listening. Part 3 is going to make them listen. The trailer is full of signals. Paul wrestling with what his father would think of him. Paul's sister Aliyah weaponizing the religion. Paul standing at the center of a stone burner explosion. Chani battle-scarred and alone, hunting on the back of a sandworm. This isn't a finale where the chosen one wins. This is a finale where the audience finally understands what they were rooting for. There's a bigger reason this matters beyond just Dune. Herbert was writing about something universal. The phenomenon of charismatic leadership doesn't go away. Every generation has its messiahs. Political, religious, technological. People who keep handing power to figures who promise transcendence. And the pattern keeps repeating. When Herbert was asked, late in his life, why he kept returning to this theme across the Dune series, he said something I think about a lot. He said people will follow a charismatic leader straight into hell, and they'll do it without ever questioning where they're being led. Dune Messiah is a story about the moment you realize where you've been led, and whether anyone gets out. That's the story Villeneuve is about to put in front of mainstream audiences. Tens of millions of people who showed up to cheer for Paul are going to leave the theater asking themselves what they were celebrating. If Villeneuve sticks to landing, and based on the trailer I think he will, Dune Part 3 is going to be one of the most important pieces of mainstream filmmaking we've gotten in a decade. Not because it's flashy, but because it does what Herbert tried to do 60 years ago. And finally, this time, audiences won't be able to look away. If you want a full breakdown of the Dune Part 3 trailer and what it's signaling about the adaptation, I've got a longer video on the channel. And hey, if you want to join me on this journey, consider subscribing to the Understory, where we dive into all kinds of Dune, sci-fi, fantasy, and other literature things, and we dig deep into the story that's underneath it all. Till then, I'll see you in the next one.